So, welcome all the Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis, um, to our Friday broadcast. We're at the lotus feet of Sri Sri Guru Gauranga, Gandharvika Giridhariju, and we're broadcasting on the order of Srila Bhakti Pawan Janardhan Maharaj. And I have my distinguished guests also here with me that I'll be introducing. And today is a special broadcast we bring to you in the World of Faith series. So today's topic is the success of faith, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But before, let me introduce you to Sripad Chinmay Prabhu. Srimad Chinmay Prabhu, you're live. If you want to say Dandavat.
Dandavat Pranam to all the devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, once again, I'd like to offer my sincere Dandavats at the lotus feet of all the servitors, all the devotees, and all the Vaishnavas. My namaskar, humble namaskar to all the well-wishers and friends of Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mutt. I'm very happy to be here this evening. And Chinmay Prabhu, just to let you know, Arun Krishna Prabhu had some technical difficulties, but he'll be joining us pretty soon. So, FYI. So, in Sri Bhagavad Gita, as we're discussing that the most substantial, it may not be in our vision, in our it may not be visible to the eyes of the flesh, but the world of faith is most substantial as far as our devotional line goes, and that's what takes us further and further into reality. So we have Arun Krishna Prabhu joining us. So our panel member, Arun Prabhu, Dandavat. Can you hear us? So, in the Bhagavad Gita, there are so many ways one can look at what's presented in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and some say that it's a basic introductory text, and others have other opinions and so forth. And there's a plethora of commentaries by Vaishnavas and other persons also. But when we look at Bhagavad Gita, we can actually we can concentrate the entire essence of what has been presented therein into 4 slokas, which are, it's called the Chatushloki Gita, just like Srimad Bhagavatam. We have so in the Chatushloki, in the 4 slokas, then it expands, just like anything else coming from that supreme essence. It starts from a point, and then it begins to expand and expand, and more and more. You may consider knowledge, or you may consider even consciousness and consciousness, as you get nearer and nearer, it expands more and more. Uh, so, Arun Prabhu, there's a conflict here. So, but anyway, and because of that expansion, we see that just like in Lord Brahma's case, we see that he's the firstborn in this universe, and the Supreme Lord pretty much gave him a bij or a seed, and then from that seed he meditated, and then his realization and his vision and everything expanded. So that's kind of like also the same way Srimad Bhagavad Gita is also working. And according to our maturity in spirituality, we understand some aspects, and then we go deeper, and then as we grow, then it's a dynamic kind of a association, and so it also grows. But if we look at the main essence, there are 4 slokas, and they're tucked right in the middle of Bhagavad Gita, which is chapter 10, that they're tucked into. So I just want to break away for a moment, and I have a number of guests. I would just like to pay my dandavats to them. I have Arun Krishna Prabhu here, and then also Prachi ji has joined us. Namaskar, Prachi.
Yeah.
And so, getting back to our topics here. And now we have Arun Prabhu in 2 instances. So he has expanded. But
Come back to reality.
and so the main principal 4 verses are presented in the middle of Bhagavad Gita in chapter 10. And before we get to the verses, I want to take you through what Srila Param Guru Maharaj says about this topic. So please follow along with me, because we see that again, like each and every word, aphorism, statement coming from our acharyas is full of potency. And so as myself, I'm paying attention. I would humbly request everyone, please joining in. If you pay attention, you will benefit to the extreme, because everything that they say, every statement, it may seem English, it may seem any other language, but the bhav behind all of that is just supremely ecstatic. So we begin, and this is Param Guru Maharaj. Both Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Baldev Vidyabhushan have commented on Bhagavad Gita, and Jiva Goswami has also given his explanation of different verses. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has given his own explanation, and he has included both Baldeva's and Vishwanath Chakravarti's commentaries in his Bengali translation of Bhagavad Gita. Sridhar Swami's commentary was the original one, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had great appreciation for his commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. I have attempted to shed some new light on some verses in Bhagavad Gita. On the basis of what the previous commentators have said, I have shown the further development of Madhura Ras in Bhagavad Gita, and even the Parama relationship of Parakiya Ras. When I discussed my explanation with Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, I asked him, In this place in Bhagavad Gita, I have given my interpretation to include Madhura Ras. What do you think? He told me, what more can be said? Your interpretation is perfectly correct. Still, it was a new conception I had given there. I found Parakiya, the paramour devotion of the gopis for Krishna, represented in the verse Tesham satati yuktanam yenamam upayantite. So, the full verse is Tesham satati yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhiyogam tam yena mama upayantite. Just as Srimad Bhagavatam has 4 essential verses, there are 4 essential verses in Bhagavad Gita, which contain the very gist, the very substance of the whole ontological conception of Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, verse 8, the first of the 4 nutshell verses is as follows. Aham sarvasya prabhava mattah sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhav samanvita. I am the origin of everything. Everything emanates from me, including all conceptions of the absolute truth and even my own worship. The wise who know this fully worship me with bhav, deep devotional ecstasy. Here, Krishna says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo, mattah sarvam pravartate. Everything emanates from me, including all conceptions of the absolute truth. In Bhagavatam, the 3 main conceptions of the absolute are given: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Brahman means the all-comprehensive aspect of the absolute. Paramatma means the all-permeating aspect of the absolute. And Bhagavan means the personal conception of the absolute. In his Bhakti Sandarbha, Jiva Goswami has given the real meaning of Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. The general meaning of Bhagavan is one who commands all sorts of potencies. All sorts of potencies are controlled by him personally. That is the conception of Bhagavan found in Narayana of Vaikuntha. But Jiva Goswami has given a particularly fine interpretation of Bhagavan. He says that Bhagavan means Bhajaniya Sarva Sad Guna Vasisht. The nature of Bhagavan is such that whatever comes in contact with him feels a natural serving tendency towards his charming personality. He is endowed with such qualities that everyone is drawn to worship him, to love him. He attracts the love of everyone. Everyone wants to serve him. This is Bhagavan. He is endowed with qualities that attract everyone to serve him. I have included this special interpretation of a Jiva Goswami in my commentary on the above Bhagavad Gita verse. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, 3 phases of the absolute truth have been described: all-comprehensive Brahman, all-pervading Paramatma, and the all-attractive absolute person, Bhagavan. I have explained in my commentary that Krishna's statement here, Aham Sarvasya Prabhava, means I am Swayam Bhagavan, the original personality of Godhead. I am at the root of all these 3 conceptions of absolute. And I am the origin not only of Brahman, the all-comprehensive Absolute, and Paramatma, the all-permeating Absolute, but also of Narayan, the master of all potencies, who commands the respect of everyone. I am the origin of all of them. I am Swayam Bhagavan. In this way, I have interpreted the meaning of Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo. And in the next line, when Krishna says Mattah Sarvam Pravartate, here we must concentrate more finely. Krishna says Sarvam Pravartate, everything comes from me. With this, Krishna is saying even worship of me comes from me. I reveal it first. I myself worship myself. I do this as Guru, as my finer potency. This potency is nothing but myself. And my finest potency is Radharani. Through my potency, I worship myself. Every movement begins from me, even my own worship. My own service is begun by me in my role as Guru. I reveal that to the public so that you will properly worship me. For this reason, Guru is called Bhagavan, for he is non-different from me. Acharyam mam bijaniyan. The finest potency of Bhagavan is Radharani. So Guru is in the highest sense, as well as service in the highest sense is represented in Srimati Radharani. Next, Krishna says, those who know this will worship me. Iti matva bhajante mam. Those who understand this conception that Radharani serves him in the highest way will serve Krishna in subjugation to her. That is Radha Dasyam, the divine service of Sri Radha. And it is with this understanding that a worshipper will come to worship Krishna. In my interpretation, I have taken it that this is Krishna's intent when he says, Iti matva bhajante ma. Knowing this, they worship me. He means those who know that my worship comes from me and that my finest potency worships me best will worship me under the direction of my finest potency. Here we find the importance of Radha Dasyam, the service of Sri Radha, the highest goal of the followers of Rupa Goswami, the Rupanuga Gaudiya Sampradaya. Here Krishna is saying, knowing that it is my finest potency that worships me best, one will worship me under the direction of my first-class worshipper, Sri Radha. With this idea, one will always worship me under the guidance of my finest Shakti, Srimati Radharani, or her representation, Sri Gurudev. In this way, they will always worship me under their direction and never as a direct worshipper. This is the meaning of Iti Matva Bhajante Mam. Then Krishna says, Buddha Bhava Samanvita. Here, Buddha means those of fine theistic intelligence, Sumedasa. In Bhagavatam, it is said that those of fine theistic intellect will be able to appreciate this. Yajantihi Sumedasa. Fine theistic intelligence is the outcome of good fortune, which comes from above, Sukriti. It is not self-acquired. That fine intellectual inner direction and guidance can only come from the Nirguna or transcendental plane. Buddha here means one who has a direct connection with the Nirguna or transcendental plane. His intelligence doesn't come from this mic quarter. Rather, it springs from the spiritual platform. Only such a person can appreciate these subtle points. This is said in Bhagavatam. Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam Sangopangastra Parshadam Yajna Sankirtana Prayer Yajanti Sumedasa. Those who are of fine theistic intellect, Sumedasa, will worship Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Sankirtan, not others. So this verse from Bhagavad Gita means one whose devotion is the product of the Nirguna wave, whose faith is not collected from this world of misunderstanding, shall worship me through Radha Dasyam. Here Bhav Samanvita means Rag Samanvita. That is, they worship Krishna with Anurag, love. Their affinity for Krishna, their devotion to Him, is not governed by rules. It does not spring from strictly following the scriptural rules, but from bhav, inner inspiration. Their worship is called Rag Marg, the path of spontaneous attraction. Scriptural rules involve calculations of loss and gain. But worship which is bhava samanvita is not drawn from any consideration of loss and gain. It flows naturally through love and attraction for Krishna. It is Gyan Shun Bhakti, free from calculation, free from profit and loss. Jnana Karmadaya Anavratam. The next of the 4 essential verses, which contain the entire message of Bhagavad Gita, is as follows. This is chapter 10, verse 9. Mat chitta madgat prana bodhayanta parasparam kathyantascha mamanityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. The hearts and minds of my devotees are always filled with me, and they are forever experiencing pleasure and ecstasy in talking about me. Here, Krishna says, I am in their hearts, in their thinking, mad chitta madgat prana. Their whole life, their entire energy is spent for me, utilized for me. Their prana shakti, their life energy is also fully devoted for my cause. Internally, they are always thinking about me and devoting their whole energy for me. And externally, they talk about me to enhance their mutual understanding. Bodhayanta parasparam. They love to talk about me with one another. They talk about nothing else. In private life and in public life also, they love to talk about me and nothing else. I am the only subject of their discussions. Kathyantascha mamanityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Whatever they do, wherever they are, everywhere, I am the subject of their talk. And next Krishna says, in this they find great satisfaction. Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. The internal meaning of tushyanti cha ramanti cha is as follows. Here, 2 levels of devotees are described. Up to Vatsalyaras, or the parental mellow of devotion. Krishna's devotees are feeling great satisfaction. Tushyanti, tushta. And above this is the higher kind of satisfaction, ramanti, experienced in the madhuraras. Just as a wife and husband enjoy a particular kind of connection, Krishna's devotees feel ecstasy, ramanti, in his connection, simply by talking about him. Here the acharyas have agreed that the word ramanti indicates consorthood, and that devotees in consorthood can experience the very deep connection of husband and wife in relation to Krishna. In the company of Krishna, they feel the ecstasy of consorthood, Ramanticha. They also feel that ecstasy even when they are only talking about Krishna. This meaning of the word Ramanti has been explained in different places by Vishwanath, Baladev, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and is also admitted even by Sankaracharya, who agrees that the word Ramanti indicates consorthood. Then there is the next nutshell verse of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, verse 10. Tesham satati yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhiyogam tam yena mam upayantite. Those who constantly worship me with devotion, I give the intelligence by which they can come to me. This is the ordinary meaning of this verse. But there is a deeper meaning. Here Krishna says, those persons who are continuously engaged in me without interruption, satata yuktanam, who are always in me, who are connected with me, who serve me with great love and respect with their heart. Dadami buddhiyogam tam. I inspire them with the intelligence by which they will come to me. They will come to me in a closer connection. But I found that this is redundant. Krishna has already said Satati Yuktanam. Their devotion is continuous. They are always there in my connection. If they are already in connection with Krishna, then we must ask why he would again say they will come to me. Krishna has already said that these devotees talk only of him, think only of him, take pleasure in him, and are always engaged in his service. He says they are always connected with me without interruption, and they are serving me with heartfelt love. They are already serving with heartfelt love, and then Krishna says, I shall give them the inspiration by which they will come to me, mam upayantite. This is redundant. It has already been said that they are connected to Krishna. How is it that again they will come to him? How is Krishna's statement, they come to me, to be harmonized? So I found a deeper meaning to the words mam upayantite. I took here the word upayanti, which ordinarily means they come, to indicate upapati or paramour. So upayanti, they come to me, means they consider Krishna as upapati, as a paramour. In society, there is the lawful husband or pati, and there is the paramour or upapati. In Vrindavan, Krishna is not considered by the gopis as their lawfully married husband, but as master, as the lord of their hearts. Here Krishna says, I inspire those who are constantly engaged in devotional service to come to me. Which devotees does Krishna here inspire? Those who are Ramanti, the highest group of devotees. Those who are related to him in consorthood, in full rasa, mukhya rasa. Krishna says here, I inspire them to come to me, considering me as paramour, upapati. Here Krishna says, bhajatam priti purvakam. This means prem, which is generally found in madhura rasa, consorthood. So the real meaning of this verse is that Krishna inspires those who are in consorthood to come to him, seeing him as Paramar, Upapati. And how do they come to him? He inspires them to come to him without any consideration of social and scriptural demands. And so, inspired by him from within, crossing the line of scriptural and social regulations, and even deceiving their own husbands, the gopis are united with Krishna in Paramar consorthood, Parakiya.
Prabhuji, can I just make an observation and authenticate this? As we understand this, one needs to understand also that the intrinsic nature of Bhagavan is Purush, and the intrinsic nature of the living entities is female. Then that is how it's better understood as to what is being conveyed.
Krishna's position is absolute, and he relishes more the devotion of those who can cross everything for him. And he inspires his devotees from within with this message. Externally, you have to fulfill social and scriptural demands, but my position is over and above the scriptures. My position is above whatever the social laws and scriptural laws tell you to do. I am above the Vedas and everything else. The Vedas are my instructions for the ordinary people. Their instructions are meant for those who are deviated from me. Society is also under the guidance of those instructions which were given to the fallen. But my connection with everything is intrinsic. It is independent of the laws of scripture and society. I do not require recognition from anyone. My connection with everything is the constant in all equations. It can never be avoided. So you must neglect all the demands from your previous life's connections and come to me. You have no freedom to do anything else. When your devotional nature will come to demand you to come to me, you are not free. Your heart must come towards me. This is Upapati, Paramore devotion. The devotion of Vrindavan, Vrindavan Bhajan, means Paramore devotion. Yena mam upayantite. So here Krishna says that to those who are Ramanti, who are already inclined to come in connection with him in consorthood as husband and wife, he gives some special feeling and inspiration within their hearts. And they shall come to him as Upapati, as Paramars. Here Krishna is saying in effect, his Paramar devotion is so great that it crosses the rules of both society and scripture. It is independent of everything. Connection with me is independent of everything that you can conceive. It is most innate and natural. It does not require any scriptural or any social sanction. You may live in society showing formal respect to scriptural and social convention, but from your inner heart of hearts, you are mine. That is yena mam upayantite. the special instruction or nature or insight I give to these devotees. In other words, these devotees do not allow a second pati or husband to come between them and Krishna. They cannot tolerate the interpolation of any second thing, even if it involves social law or scriptural regulations. Their devotion is so high that all the Vedas are searching after this idea, this divine position. Asamaho charanarenu ndusamaham syam vrindavane kimapi gulmalataushadinam ya dustajam swajanam arjapatham chahitva bejur mukund padavim shutibhir brahmagyam. This is Srimad Bhagavatam. Although the most exalted devotion of the gopis is only hinted at in the Vedas, I can now understand their most exalted position. Oh, when shall I take birth as a creeper in Vrindavan so that I can take the dust of the lotus feet of the gopis upon my head? Those great souls gave up society, friendship, love, their relatives, and even the Vedic principles to take shelter of the holy lotus feet of Krishna. Here, one thing should be mentioned. Parakya bhav has a broader application. It does not only mean paramore devotion. This feeling of crossing scriptural and social rules for an unsanctioned relationship is found not only in Madhura Ras or consorthood. Parakya literally means belonging to another. So opposite of Parakya is Swakya.
I wish I could get the picture.
You can turn on the camera for getting the picture for the benefit of everybody else.
I see. And Anilji is also here. Namaskar, Anilji.
Hare Krishna, sir.
Good to see you, Anil Prabhu.
Yeah, I was missing this company, right? Sorry.
So we go on.
Yes.
Parakya literally means belonging to another. Vatsalyaras, parental affection, and Sakyaras, friendship, are also infused with these sentiments of Parakya. This is the method of love for those who follow Ragamarg. Just a moment here, just like to clarify that Guru Maharaj is explaining Parakya Bhav, which is peculiar to Vrindavan. And all the relationships in Vrindavan are infused with Parakya Bhav. In the case of Yashoda, Parakya takes the following form. Yashoda says, some people say that Krishna is not my son. They say that he is Devaki's son. This feeling enhances her heart's affection towards Krishna. For then she thinks, I could lose him at any moment. This idea draws more intense affection towards Krishna. it increases the affection of our service. In Sakyaras, the sentiments of Parakiya are also found. Some say Krishna has come from Mathura and he may again go to Mathura. He does not belong to us. He is not exclusively our friend. This apprehension also fills the minds of the cowherd boys, and they become anxious, thinking we may lose him at any time. So that sentiment makes friendly service towards him more intense. In this way, the whole sentiment in Vrindavan is Parakiya. In the mood of servanthood or dasyaras also, there is some sentiment like that. Devotees feel, some say that Krishna comes from Mathura and he is the son of Vasudeva. He is here only for a while. He is not an ordinary man like us. This idea is more or less current in Vrindavan. So Parakiya is not only found in Madhura Ras. Krishna may capture all with that sentiment. But Parakiya is a very special thing in Madhura Ras. Its speciality is that in Madhura Ras, it is more objectionable both to the scriptures and to society. But for the gopis, it is not objectionable. In Madhura Ras, they have to cross over the directions of both the Vedas and society. They must take that great risk. But in other rasas, there is only the fear that we may not have Krishna permanently, he may go away. He does not belong among us. This suspicion increases the intensity of their service. But in Madhura Ras, they must cross the positive directions of the Vedas and society. They must go against these authorities, as if to take the risk of committing sin. This is the special feature of Parakiya in Madhura Ras. So, there the intensity of devotion is in its highest condition. So the inspiration towards Parakiya, yena mam upayanti te, that Krishna discusses here with special reference to those who are Ramanti, who are connected to him in consorthood, is also present in all the servitors in Vrindavan. Finally, we come to the last of the 4 nutshell verses. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, verse 11. Tesham evanukampartham aham ajnanajam tamah nashamyatma bhavastau jnanadeepen bhasvata. Krishna says, to show them special mercy, I enter their hearts and destroy their ignorance with the lamp of knowledge. The inner meaning of this verse is more difficult to draw out. The word tesham evanukampartham may be interpreted in 2 ways. The external interpretation is that Krishna favors his devotees. Tesham evanukampartham. And the internal explanation is that Krishna is saying, I want their favor. I aspire after the favor of the devotees of the highest order. As in Bhagavatam, Krishna says, Mai bhaktir hi bhutanam amnatattaya kalpate dishtaya yada sinamat sneho bhavati nam madapana. My dear gopis, everyone considers themselves fortunate if they possess devotion for me, and by that they achieve an eternal life of nectar. But I must admit that I consider myself most fortunate because I have come in touch with the wonderful affection found in your hearts. Still, the paradox is that Krishna seems to say that after such grief and continued engagement with Krishna, then he gives these highest devotees pure knowledge, Jnanadipena Bhasvata, and by that knowledge they get salvation by attaining Brahman. That is the point of argument made by the followers of Sankaracharya. But I have taken it in another direction. Jnanadipen is a troublesome expression. I enlighten them with knowledge, so I have given another interpretation. When the pangs of separation felt by Krishna's devotees comes to its extreme stage, Krishna suddenly comes and shows himself.
Thank you.
Thank you. When the pangs of separation felt by Krishna's devotees comes to its extreme stage, Krishna suddenly comes and shows himself. For example, Sachi Devi feels extreme separation when she cooks for Nimai, and then by his mercy, she can see clearly that Nimai has come and taken prasadam. Similarly, in Vrindavan, when the pangs of separation reach their highest degree, then suddenly the devotees can see that Krishna is here in our company.
Can you please turn off the microphone? Thank you.
Sorry for the interruption. We go on. Similarly, in Vrindavan, so we were talking about Shachi Devi. Shachi Devi feels extreme separation when she cooks for Nimai, and then by his mercy, she can see clearly that Nimai has come and taken prasadam. Similarly, in Vrindavan, when the pangs of separation reach their highest degree, then suddenly the devotees can see that Krishna is here in our company. So when Krishna says that out of his mercy he appears and removes their ignorance, their ajnan, he means that when the devotees are experiencing separation from him, he appears before them and removes the darkness they feel from separation. Out of his mercy, he gives them sustenance. And when that sort of medicine has been applied, they can go on further. In Vrindavan, when his devotees feel separation, sometimes he had to come and show his friends, I am amongst you, I have not left you. This is what is meant by dispelling darkness with the light of divine knowledge. Jnanadipena Bhasvata. Here the word ignorance or ajnan means jnana shunya bhakti. Knowledge-free devotion. Devotees do not think that they are part and parcel of the Leela, the pastimes of the Supreme God. No. Their devotion is free from such calculation. It is Jnana Shunya Bhakti, most innocent. Here Krishna is saying, I can't tolerate the pangs of separation felt by my devotees. I must run towards them and show them, I am here, my mother. You see, I am here taking food. Sometimes Shachi Devi prepares food for the deity, and after offering it, she sees that it is all gone. At that time, she thinks, was this a dream? I saw Nimai. He was taking prasad. And of course, nothing was left in the pot, but Nimai has gone long ago. But then who has taken this prasadam? What was it I saw? Was it a dream? Or has some dog taken the food? Or is it that I forgot? I have not cooked today. Perhaps I did not give the bhoga to the Balagopal deity. What did I do? In this way, Shachi is confused. This may be seen as her agyan, her ignorance. Then Sri Chaitanya sends some devotee to her saying, you tell all this to my mother. On those days when such things occur, I actually go there. I take food from her hand. It is not a dream. Remind my mother of this and console her. Tell her that I come to her and I take her cooked prasadam. Remind her that this has occurred. So this is the meaning of the fourth nutshell verse from Bhagavad Gita. By his mercy, Krishna removes the darkness of separation from his devotees. And those that remind us of Krishna and thus remove the darkness born of separation from him are the real humanitarians. They are distributing the highest cure. The gopis tell Krishna, we are suffering from this pang that is created by you, but the messages about your pastimes give us life and sustenance. We are eager to hear this, and then we may feel that we are getting our life back. There is no other medicine but your assurance and consolation. That alone can save us from these pangs of the burning heart. This is their statement in Srimad Bhagavatam. Tava kathamratam tapta jivanam kavibhiriditam kalmashapaham shravanamangalam srimadatatam bhuvi granantiye bhuridajana. O Krishna, we are always suffering in this world, but just hearing the nectar of your words and pastimes gives us life, and as a byproduct, it removes all of our sinful reactions. This sort of hearing is all auspicious and fills us with spiritual wealth. Those who deliver this message of Godhead are doing the highest relief work for human society and are actually the greatest humanitarians. Joy. Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki joy. So I want to hear something from the panel. Arun Prabhu, Chinmoy Prabhu.
It's so wonderful that these precious jewels come out of Guru Maharaj's explanation of the Chatur Shloki. And it's like an onion, there is an external meaning, and then if you have something, there's an internal meaning and a much deeper meaning, and so on. Only because of his mercy that through Guru Varg we are able to get some sense to even capture who he's conveying for our benefit.
Hare Krishna. Chinmoy Prabhu?
We're very fortunate to have someone who can give such an explanation of the Bhagavad Gita like this. As we can see all over the world, even anarchists, communists, they all take this Mayavadis. They all worship this book in some way or form. And they're pulling something else out from it. But here we have a Vaishnava who's pulling some essence, some Jnana Shunya Bhakti from the Bhagavad Gita.
Jai. Jai. Srila Guru Maharaj ki jai.
Jairam Prabhu, I have one question.
Yes, please.
I think I'm getting confused. So, chapter 10, verse 10, right? It says that Tesham Satyiktam Bhajante Prakriti Padami Buddhi Yogam Tam Yem Mamu Piyanti Te. So, the last line it says that, so then I give the intelligence to them, and using that intelligence they can come to me. Now I have a confusion here, right? So I think somewhere in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan told us that the only way to reach him, to get him, is by devotion. So how is this 10:10 talking about buddhi?
So that's a good question, Anilji. So it says tam yena mam upyantite dadami buddhi yogam. So buddhi yogam is to be understood as from wherever one is at, whatever stage of development one is at. But it is talking about those devotees. What kind of devotees? Tesham satata yuktanam. Those who have already achieved that stage of constant remembrance and spontaneity in their service and remembrance of the Lord. Correct? Tesham means to those. Tesham, it begins with the word Tesham. So Tesham indicates to those. And who is he referring to? Those devotees. Satata yuktanam bhajatam apriti purvakam. Right?
Yeah. Yes.
So those devotees, he's talking about awarding that special benediction of how they can come to me. They are not ordinary devotees. Do you follow?
Yeah, I got it. So I think what you're trying to say is that you cannot, see, the starting point is to should continue to do that bhajan, right, and all those things. Then only you will get that, you might get that grace of getting to the next level.
Well, that next level is when he says upayantite, is crossing the boundaries of even scriptural injunction.
Right.
Because ordinarily, even in terms of religiosity, one's buddhi will take one to the scriptural injunctions, and one who knows all the scriptural injunctions is supposed to be the highest, most revered, the real pandita.
All bound into that rules and regulations, right?
Right. But he's saying, I will give you buddhi yogam that you can cross beyond those injunctions.
Yes.
Does it make sense now?
Yeah, it totally makes sense.
It is for those special devotees that who have reached the stage of ananya bhajan. They have given their whole life and heart and everything to Krishna. What is scriptural injunction to them? And how to cross it? Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. So you can cross even those to come to me.
It makes sense. Thank you for the explanation. Very nice explanation.
Jai Gurudev. It's all Guru's grace. We all have but borrowed time and borrowed words. So now,
Without Guru, nothing can happen. If you want to learn something, you have to have a Guru.
say one more time, Anilji.
I'm saying that without Guru's grace, nothing can happen. If you want to learn something, it should come by Guru.
Yes, that is correct. Very true. So very happy to have everyone here and joining in the discussion. And we will continue this as we go, and we will take a little short break while we prepare for Hariharai. Unless Chinmoy Prabhu or Anil Prabhu want to say something or announce anything, then please let me know. Otherwise, we'll take a little break.
It seems to me that these words like buddhi and gyan, even karma, they have different levels of meaning depending on what stage of devotional life you exist on.
That is correct.
Like
That is
these
correct.
people who are experiencing Tushanti or Amanti, they are in a far different plane of existence than we are. So that type of buddhi that they're given
Yeah.
is not the same type of buddhi that we would normally understand to be for us.
Right. Buddhi is just primarily intelligence. I'll give them the intelligence to come to me. That's the regular understanding. But to understand who is he talking about, and then that is revealed by Guru Maharaj, we just read that and went through it, is that he's Tesham Satata Yuktanam, to those who are Satata Yukta, in bhajan, bhajatam, and how priti purvakam, in loving affection, constantly, satat yuktanam. That is not commoners. That is not common practicing devotional, like a devotional practitioner. That is very high. To those. So that is how Param Guru Maharaj is drawn out. And what is Sri Gita, the hidden treasure of the sweet absolute? Here I feel he has revealed the treasure of the sweet absolute. So that's why it is very beautiful. And that's why I chose, paradoxically, I chose reveal the treasure of the sweet absolute rather than hidden treasure. So, and then we'll go on, but just give me a little break here. We will be right back while we set up.
Sure. You want to say that? Say that. Say that.
Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sarva Nityananda
Bhakti Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Shri Advaita Gadadhara
केशवाय नमः
Madhavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha
गोपाल गोविंद राम श्री मधुसूदन गिरिधारी गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन श्री चैतन्य नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत चंद्र गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद जय रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्ट दास रघुनाथ इच्छाय गोसाई कोरी चरण वंदन जहाँ होते विघ्न नाश अभीष्ट पुराण इच्छाय गोसाई जल मुई तारा दास तासा बाल पद रेणु मोरा पंचग्रास तांडेरा चरण से भी भक्त सने बास जनम मोरा अभिलाष इच्छाय गोसाई जबे ब्रज कोइलाबास श्री राधा कृष्ण नित्य लीला कोरिला प्रकाश आनंद बोलो हरि भजा वृंदावन श्री गुरु वैष्णव पदे मजैया मान श्री गुरु वैष्णव पद पद्मा कोरियास हरि नाम संकीर्तन को है नरोत्तम दास हरिहराय नमः कृष्णाय यादवाय नमः यादवाय माधवाय केशवाय नमः हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे निताय गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev,
Jai Gauranga Sundar, Jai Gauranga Sundar, Jai Gauranga Sundar, Jai Gauranga Sundar.
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhansa Parivarakacharya Varya Stotra Sata Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhansa Parivarakacharya Varya Stotra Sata Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. जय भगवान श्रील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर की जय. जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. जय सपार्षद श्रीमन महाप्रभु की जय. रूप अनुग गुरु वर्ग की जय. जय श्रीला भक्ति पावन जनार्दन महाराज की जय. जय श्रीला भक्ति निर्मल आचार्य महाराज की जय. श्री चैतन्य सारस्वत मठ आचार्य वृंद की जय. श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय. नित्याय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल हरि बोल. All the assembled devotees ki jai. And I just want to mention today happens to be, at least on the solar calendar, it happens to be the birthday or the appearance day of our very dear guardian and friend Shriman Yuddhamannu Prabhu Seva Vikram. So a big jai to Shriman Yuddhamannu Seva Vikram Mahashay ki jai. So give me a second.